When I was a young man, my ambition was to go to study law. It didn't happen, partly my fault. And instead I went into banking, and then after banking into business. But throughout that period, law was always something that fascinated me. And of course, becoming a banker, getting trained into banking, and then also becoming a businessman later, law plays a very important role in your life, both in banking and in business. And until today, as a retired person, law continues to fascinate me. And whenever I see these legalities that come up every time, every now and then, I look at them sometimes in amusement and sometimes with some pain in me. As we all know, probably many people know, that law and logic are not necessarily going in the same direction. There is nothing that says law and logic should go in the same direction, or law and common sense should go in the same direction, or law and justice should go in the same direction. In fact, if ever you end up in a court of law and the judge tells you that he is going to find justice for you or give you justice, that's his function, you should run away from that court, because it is not the function of the judge to give justice. It is the function of the judge to implement the law, whatever the law says. So, there we go. Now, today, why am I bringing this up? Because today we are going through a very fascinating experience happening in the United States. And why in the United States? Because in the United States is the loudest country in the world. And you can't avoid it, avoid what's happening there. We have an election, and we have two people in high places convicted of felony crime, basically. Now, I want to see how this plays out. So, using again my favorite new researcher, let's have a conversation about what's happening there and see how the legal system works. We will put to her a certain scenario, and then we will examine how that scenario plays out. It might be amusing for some, it might be laughable for others, it might even be tragic for many. Let's examine, let's have a look at it. Hi Malika, how are you today?
Hi, Munir. I'm doing well, thank you. How about you?
Good. I've got a couple of issues I want to talk to you about the US Constitution and the laws that are based on the US Constitution.
Sure, Munir. What issues do you have in mind about the U.S. Constitution?
You know, we have at the moment a very interesting presidential race between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. And Donald Trump is a convicted felon. Now, technically, I understand, well, not more than just technically, I understand Donald Trump, even if he goes to jail, he can run for the presidency, and if he wins the presidency, he can actually govern from jail. Am I right?
Yes, you're right.
We're having a very bad connection here. Hi again, Malika. We had a bad connection. Can we continue where we stopped?
Of course, Munir. You were talking about the presidential race between Joe Biden and Donald Trump, and you mentioned that Donald Trump is a convicted felon. You asked if he could technically govern from jail. Yes, there is no specific clause in the U.S. Constitution that prevents a convicted felon from running for or serving as president. So technically, he could govern from jail. What are your thoughts on this situation?
Can he, while running for the office of president, select among other similarly convicted felon in jail to be his running mate? Is there a law against that?
There is no law in the U.S. Constitution that explicitly prohibits a convicted felon from being elected as president or vice president. This means that, theoretically, Donald Trump could select a convicted felon as his running mate. However, the political and practical implications would be significant, and it might face various legal and public challenges.
Right. Apart from the various legal and public challenges, the law itself does not prevent such a scenario.
That's correct, Munir. The law itself does not prevent a convicted felon from being elected as president or vice president, nor does it prevent a convicted felon from being selected as a running mate. The Constitution sets specific requirements for these offices, but a clean criminal record is not one of them.
A clean criminal record is not among the requirements to be President of the United States. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's correct.
Interesting.
The U.S. Constitution outlines the requirements to be president, which are: the candidate must be a natural-born citizen of the United States, at least 35 years old, and have been a resident of the U.S. for at least 14 years. It does not require a clean criminal record.
Right. Now, let's take this a step further. Joe Biden is the current president of the United States who may or may not be re-elected. His son has just been convicted. His son, Hunter Biden, has just been convicted of a felon, of a crime in U.S. court of law. There is another case that is awaiting him in September. He may or may not be convicted, but the likeliness of another conviction is very high, considering that the prosecutor will not take the case to court if he doesn't or she doesn't have enough evidence. Now, in this scenario, once he is convicted in the second crime as well in September, Joe Biden can give his son a pardon. Am I right?
So, you're considering a scenario where Hunter Biden is convicted of a second crime in September. How would you like to explore this further in relation to the U.S. Constitution or the presidential race?
No, I would like to look at it from a U.S. Constitution, the law, the U.S. law. Does it give Joe Biden the right to pardon his son of all crimes that his son has committed and convicted?
Yes. Under the U.S. Constitution, the president has the authority to grant pardons for federal offenses. This power is outlined in Article 2, Section 2. Therefore, President Joe Biden could theoretically pardon his son, Hunter Biden, for any federal crimes he has committed. However, this power does not extend to state crimes. Those would need to be pardoned by the governor of the state where the conviction occurred.
Hi Malika again. We are having very bad internet connection today. Some construction going on in the area here. Okay, let me go back to where I stopped and try to bring back the same subject. Here is my main question now. I want to follow it up. If Hunter Biden...
Sure. Go ahead with your main question. I'm here to help.
If Hunter Biden successfully gets a pardon from whether it's presidential or from a governor, whichever political methods that are used to get him a pardon, under the law of double jeopardy, he will not be able to be tried again for the same crime. Am I right? Double jeopardy
Yes,
law.
you are correct. If Hunter Biden receives a pardon for a specific crime, he cannot be tried again for that same crime under the double jeopardy clause of the Fifth Amendment. This clause prevents an individual from being prosecuted twice for the same offense once they have been acquitted or pardoned.
So really, this is the best time to bring Hunter Biden to stand trial while his father is president, because if we imagine that his father loses the office of the presidency and Donald Trump wins, there is no way that Hunter Biden will ever see the light of day out of jail. No pardons for him. Am I right?
It's a complex situation. If Hunter Biden is brought to trial and convicted while his father is president, a pardon could indeed be issued. However, if the political landscape changes and someone like Donald Trump becomes president, it might be more challenging for Hunter to receive a pardon. Timing and political circumstances play significant roles in such legal and political strategies.
So this is the best time to get Hunter Biden off the hook while his father is still president and can get him a pardon.
From a strategic perspective, if Hunter Biden's legal team believes a pardon might be necessary, it would make sense to address these legal issues while Joe Biden is still president. This would provide the opportunity for a presidential pardon if needed. Timing and political dynamics are crucial in these scenarios.
There you go. The best time to get his son off the hook is now. I mean, he's president. He can either pardon him or arrange a pardon. He has the power to do that, and we have seen that he has used these powers in some other politically oriented cases. So it is not. You might think that the old man, from the way he walks and the way he talks, is gaga, but he's not really gaga when it comes to this crooked business of timing and how to organize things in a way. And I suppose once he gets off the hook with the presidential pardon, then the only thing that will be awaiting Hunter is civil cases to try to recover all that money that he made out of his criminal life. But that is a different subject then. Whether he will defeat those civil cases or not, what is for sure is that at least until then, Hunter Biden will be allowed to keep all the ill-gotten wealth. Well, the Biden family will be allowed to get all the ill-gotten wealth that Hunter, on behalf of the Biden family, because don't forget, I mean, you can believe anything you want, but the fact is Hunter Biden was a front man for his father. Evidence, everything that is coming out is showing that Hunter Biden was the front man for his father, the big man. Remember that big man story from with the Chinese telephone call? You can go and research it on data, on internet. But Hunter Biden being the front man for his father's criminality is almost a foregone conclusion. Here's the thing also. Now, what is being done here, and the games, and the legal games, and the political games, and the criminal games that are being played in the United States are not unique to the United States. They happen everywhere in the world. In our part of the world, they happen a lot. The only thing is, in that part of the world, whether the United States or the West generally, the criminality is legalized before it is happening. Let me explain that. In our part of the world, if you go to a government official of any level and you want services rendered, you have to pay upfront on the table. There is no question about it being legal or illegal. The issue doesn't even arise. We all know that it's illegal. How do they get away with it? Well, they control the government. They have the army behind them. They have everything behind them. And they make it obvious to you that we are doing this. So what the hell can you do about it? We know. It's thuggery. It's vulgar. But it is being done in this way. In the West, it is legalized. You cannot put money on the table for the president or for a minister or any one of these guys. You cannot do that while he or she is in office. You have to wait until they come out of office. Once they come out of office, it is legal now to give them the bribe that was promised to them while they were serving you, while they were in office. And you can see this. Go to the military industry in the United States. Look at the board of directors. How many of them were past servants of the Pentagon and the US government? They have to wait until their professional life ended, then they can collect. In our part of the world, they collect while they are still in office. It's a different method. The crime is the same. There is no difference between the two in as far as the crime is concerned. Here we see a US president, a US senator before he became president, a US vice president before he became president, using his son to do the crimes that he wants to do. And then when getting his son convicted in a court of law while he's president, and then he will subsequently give him a pardon, get his son off the hook, and get himself off the hook, and then worry about the civil cases later. That's how it works there. Different from the way it works here. Ours is a vulgar system. Theirs is a very sophisticated system. We don't bother to legalize crimes, we just commit them. There, they have to legalize the crime before they can commit it. Learn that. Ciao. That's all I wanted to talk about today. Thank you very much, Malika. See you again maybe next time. Tomorrow. Bye.
You're welcome, Munir. I'm glad I could help. Talk to you next time. Take care.